Hey, I'm Ethan Liu, founder and CEO of Property Showcase Group. I'm here today to do a little bit of a breakdown for one of our recent productions at the Ora House by Blue Heron Design. I'm gonna walk you through everything from pre-production to production to post-production, and also kind of give you a little bit of a glimpse of what really goes on behind the scenes with the crew, some of the funny stories, and some of the challenges as well. Welcome to the behind the scenes of the Ora House. This was a really cool production because it's one of the most sophisticated, largest, and just I would say most interesting productions that we've done to date. My personal first step that I like to take as a director is doing a location scout, right? Actually physically being there, walking around, feeling the air, looking at the materials, looking at the weather, tracking where the light's gonna be at different hours of the day. And that kind of really helps me with the next process, which is storyboarding. We use a piece of software called Milanote. Milanote is an awesome tool for just kind of getting a lot of different media, whether that's imagery, video, music, and just kind of putting together a mood board and then thereafter a storyboard, breaking down the scenes. And it's a really great tool to share with the client where they can review it and really get a sense of what your vision is. If you can inspire the client to see your vision with a storyboard prior to getting on set, it makes for a much smoother process. Moving forward to the day prior to the shoot, certainly this was a bigger production with upwards of 15 to 20 people on set. And so it's nice to just make sure that everyone's on the same page, sees the same vision, reviews that storyboard, understands clients' expectations, and really just, is excited for something like this. Because at the end of the day, it's a fun project to be part of. So production day. This production day started at about 6 or 7 a.m. depending on the crew call times. And really everyone references a call sheet. I'm sure a lot of you know, but a call sheet is just that document that outlines the entire schedule for the day. And we definitely like to run a tight ship. And so crew starts showing up, breakfast is out, client shows up, you have a quick conversation about, again, expectations, lighting, where's the sun gonna be, all of that fun stuff. I'd be lying if I said it usually goes exactly how you think it's gonna go, even with all the planning and storyboarding. At the end of the day, production is very much a problem-solving sport. And really just make sure talent, hair and makeup, wardrobe, production assistants, producer, DP are all feeling good. So jumping into the first scene, we actually started with a bathtub scene in the lower level of the house with one of the talent in the bathtub. It's a lot of beautiful light, but down there, it was a little bit dark. We placed the aperture 600D in the top corner and shined it down through the skylight and kind of just illuminated the talent's face and the back green wall behind her. I thought that was a pretty cool scene, kind of just really establishing in the house the touch of nature and water, which are just two of the many elements that I know Blue Heron was very keen about showcasing. Moving to the afternoon, one of my favorite scenes was the pool. And I think probably one of my favorite aspects was having all 4 talent in the same scene. Without a doubt, the most vital element of this home was water, right? It's overlooking the Pacific, you have waterways, you have fountains. And in the pool, I really wanted to see if we can get a shot from underneath water. And we actually ended up using one of those shots for the opening scene of the film. And Kevin, our DP, actually got in the pool with a fish tank, Red Raptor inside, which is probably like a $40,000 camera. We did have insurance, water insurance, but nevertheless, he got in, the pool was cold, and we got some really cool underwater shots that generally would be very hard to accomplish with a small crew size. But that's kind of what we take pride in. To me, growing up in San Diego, certainly everyone is connected with the Pacific Ocean. And this to me is one of the most spectacular pieces of property in all of San Diego, in all of the country, to be frank. But I think the challenge in that is, as a filmmaker and as a director, you want to be able to kind of add your own flair. You don't want to just go in there and rely only on Blue Heron's beautiful design to showcase the home. You want to pick and choose the scenes that will really bring the emotion out of a home like this, to the point where someone's watching and really feels like they're part of what it actually feels like to live a day in a home like that. Without a doubt, I would say the most challenging scenes were the nighttime scenes. And the reason why is you're simply chasing light. You have a limited amount of time to capture a couple different shots, a couple different scenes. We started up at the deck, and it was actually quite a beautiful sunset. You had a little bit of gold in the sky, pink in the sky. Specifically, I would say the challenge was It's the end of the day, talent is pretty tired, but I remember thinking to myself, all right, I'm gonna have to really energize this crew, right? It's been a long day, 10 hours on the job. And I remember they get up to the rooftop, they're overlooking kind of the Pacific, gold light is hitting their faces, and the beauty of the setting kind of just energized us all. We actually did that scene quite quickly. Kevin was up top, filming from the corner. I was on the other side, iPad in my hand, monitoring the footage. And I remember just looking at the screen and saying, this is, you can't ask for a better kind of wrap up to the day. So the funny thing about saying it's a wrap is that it 100% is not a wrap for the production crew, especially for that day, right? You go from it's a wrap to getting SD cards or CFast cards, offloading, backing up 4 terabytes of footage, and making sure you get that footage safely to the editor, which in this case was across the country. But really, to me, that's where a lot of the magic happens in the post-production process, right? There are so many ways that different editors can take an edit like this. Luckily, we had a little bit of an outline from the Milanote, from the storyboarding, and we really knew what our deliverables were. And so it kind of definitely makes that process a little easier when you get to the post-production side of things. But like I said, that's where the magic happens. And in this case, in my opinion, Eli knocked this edit out of the park, right? It's one thing to shoot these beautiful scenes. It's another thing to really make sure they make sense from a storied perspective, right? Scene to scene, talent to talent, emotion to emotion, and really, of course, ensuring that the flow is there. So I think the interesting thing that a lot of people don't realize is that without a doubt, our team spends way more time on the post-production than the production or even the pre-production. The amount of hours that probably, in this case, Eli and myself spent on the phone, probably easily 15, 20 hours just talking about ideas, talking about which scene should make the cut, talking about why we're using this drone shot and not the other. And it's truly just that amount of time, that amount of dedication that really yields such a good version. And in this case, we probably went through 4 or 5 internal versions before we actually sent V1 to the client. Thanks guys for tuning in. Looking forward to just providing more in-depth BTS content of the productions. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you next time.